Hey everyone, while I sip my tea that I just made not too long ago using the BioLite, I wanted to cover the idea of a hot water bottle in winter camping or, survival situations, mostly camping. So if you have a sleeping bag in the winter time, obviously, if you're in scouts or something like that, they typically encourage you to bring a mummy bag so that you can use the heat and you can retain a lot of the heat where you typically would lose it through your head in a rectangular sleeping bag. And one of the cool things is to take a big, like 48-ounce water bottle like this and put not boiling, but hot water in it. And then throw that in your bag maybe 20 to 30 minutes before you actually get into your sleeping bag. And then after that, take another water bottle, do the same process, and put that one down by your feet. Take the water bottle, fill it up with hot water, and that'll kind of do 3 or 4 different things. So once you get your hot water bottle ready, wrap it in a big gallon-sized plastic bag, if you need a bigger one, and then actually use a old sock, one that you would use as a kind of less elastic, like a second layer sock while you're kind of kicking around camp. I have a few fleece socks that I like to wear when I'm kind of walking around camp that just add an extra amount of protection for my feet, but putting that around my hot water bottle will keep that kind of joltingness away. If you rub up against the water bottle in the middle of the night, if it's just a bare plastic, it could burn you. So just make sure that you cover it in a sock or an old t-shirt or something like that that's going to keep it from scalding you. Then while this is heating up your sleeping bag, the nice thing about that is once you get into it, you're not having to heat up the sleeping bag from whatever the ambient temperature is. If you're in 32-degree weather, the inside of your sleeping bag is going to be 32-degree weather because there's nothing in it keeping it warm. So warming it up with a hot water bottle will help save a lot of heat from having to heat it up from absolutely having no heat in it at all to being warm in there. So it actually saves you a lot of energy by throwing a hot water bottle in there. Also, keeping one down by your feet will help reach that heat all the way down. It'll actually help keep your feet a little bit warmer at night. And one trick that I always do, I always buy long sleeping bags. I'm only 5'9". I have no business really needing a tall sleeping bag or a long sleeping bag. But having that extra space to put insulation layers or layers that you don't want to get cold over the night, those are ones that you're going to throw on if you have to get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom or something like that. Having those in your bag will actually help keep them warm, and having that extra space will keep you from like kicking into them in the middle of the night. Now, one mistake that people always make is they'll put cold water bottles down there, and they'll put wet clothing, and they'll put stuff that basically your feet are the coldest part of you. Your hands are the coldest part of you. So if you're putting things that are cold down by your feet, that's only going to make it worse for you. So by putting a hot water bottle in the middle of the bag before you get in, and then heat one up and put it down by your feet, it'll keep your feet from getting cold, at least for the first couple hours of the night. It'll keep your water bottles from freezing, which is really nice, because having to deal with a frozen water bottle in the middle of the morning while you're trying to get some hot coffee or tea going is actually quite a pain in the butt. But this will actually help a little bit of that ice from forming. Now, another thing is a hot water bottle will also, basically the placement of it while you're laying in your sleeping bag, one you should put in between your thighs. Now, I know this might seem a little bit uncomfortable, but if you have a sock around it and you're not, that's basically where like your arteries are in your legs, and that will help encourage a lot of blood flow, and that'll help transfer a lot of heat to your lower extremities down by your feet. Also, if you have another hot water bottle down there, then that's going to help ensure that your lower half is staying warm at night, whereas your torso and your head are going to really keep your upper half of your body quite warm. Now, if you have a sleeping bag that is close to the temperature rating of the temperature that you're going to be in, you have both the hot water bottles in there, and you have clothes in the bottom that are not wet or anything like that. A few tricks that you could actually do to help keep yourself warm while you're sleeping is if you have a down jacket or you have a down vest, actually put that over your feet while you get in your bag. Put it on almost as a second sleeping bag, and that'll help add even more insulation to your lower extremities and help keep them warm. Another thing could be if you only have a blow up mattress, like a Thermarest, put a closed cell foam mat under that, and that will actually help preserve some of the insulation loss and some of the heat loss that you could be losing through your back. I know I wiggle when I sleep, so I tend to fall off my sleeping pad, and then I have a shoulder, I have an arm that's just laying on the cold hard ground, and I'm losing a ton of heat. So having a little extra, you know, a yoga mat or something like that, basically preventing me from falling off both mats and adding to preserving some of that heat is definitely helpful. Now I know I'm rambling a little bit, but another thing is if both of those don't work, consider getting a sleeping bag liner. I have a fleece one from LL Bean. It's called the LL Bean Cabin Bag. That thing is fantastic. I know Sea to Summit also makes one that's called the Igniter, maybe the Reactor, something like that. And it basically is, it's a silk sleeping bag that goes on while you're in your mummy bag. If you're still cold in that, you know, you're really not supposed to have a lot of layers on your body while you're in there. So one thing you could do is, if you have one down jacket over your legs and you're still cold and you feel like you still need more insulation and you have another down jacket, put that up over your hood and even put it over the opening. You're probably, if you have a down and a synthetic jacket, I would say put the synthetic jacket over your head, or even a fleece, put the fleece over your head, and that'll help some of the heat loss through that opening in the mummy bag. The only thing is, since you are going to be dispersing water through your breath at night, then that can actually get frozen. So if you're planning on having a fire in the morning or something that you could dry it out, then that is actually an option, but you have to kind of deal with the fact that you're going to have frost on that fleece or on that synthetic jacket once you get out. I hope these kind of quick tips were useful. 7 minutes, and I hope these tips were useful, and I hope you guys kind of use these while you go on your winter camping excursion. I know I definitely learned the hard way by trying to be the macho man and not using these tips, and I've really suffered a lot of times while I was winter camping with the Scouts and on my own. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like this if you enjoyed this content. It kind of gives me an idea of what you guys like seeing and what I should create more of. And if you like the videos that I've been putting out, please subscribe. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you next time.